Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the question today is, what is the consequence of apostasy? And just to define what apostasy is, it is the abandonment of beliefs. So starting in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 11, of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing you are dull of hearing. So I know this was cut off from the previous section, but the whom we're talking about is the Messiah, Yeshua, the anointed one, and who was called after the order of Melchizedek. Because of apostasy, many things had to be said, but they were hard to be understood, seeing that the people had grown tired. They had abandoned their faith because of the hardship that was being faced before them. Anyway, going forward, verse 12. For when for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. So let's break this down. So the expectation of the Hebrew writers that they should be going out and teaching others about the truth, about the Most High's truth, about the order of Melchizedek, about the Messiah. It should be a, a year-over-year gain. Let's put it that way. But at this point, just looking at the crowd, looking at the audience who's being written to, this realization that, hey, did y'all remember anything? Like the very first principles, which are the oracles of God, which are those utterances that the Most High put forth at Mount Sinai, the Ten Commandments. Those principles you're acting as though those are out the window. You have 10 fingers, you have 10 toes, you have continual reminders around you of what you should be doing. But again, you're dull of hearing. You want to do your own thing. And this is very relevant to today's time. Like if he's telling us about the oracles of the Father, the very first principles, then things like the Sabbath, as far as murder, as far as adultery, those are child play. Everyone should know them. And he's saying, the author again, at this point in time is saying, at this point in time, you need milk. And that's what babies need. And as for strong meat, anything that's deeper, forget it. Going forth in verse 13. For everyone one that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. So there you go. Now, how many people, if you received a letter from anyone calling you a baby, would be gracious in receiving it? Most people would consider, oh, you're being rude. But here you go, having someone straight out calling you, you're a baby. You have shown a lack of maturity of growing up. And why? Because you're backpedaling. Because the very things that should be at the focus at the very beginning that you should be teaching everyone, you're still unstable in those. So it's a commentary to us in this modern day, because how many of us are sticking to just the first principles, the things that are put forth. And we're going to the principles. I know there's more principles the next page coming up as well. But I know looking at other portions, like in Romans, I believe that same statement of oracles of God. I want to say, yeah, I'll just leave it at Romans right now. As for its exact chapter, I'm uncertain. But anyway, let's go forward. Verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are full of age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So we must go through the trials to be brought to that mature age where we can use our senses and we can distinguish between the good and the evil. In other words, we have become wise through all the experiences that we have gone through. And this is a warning to us as well. There are certain things that until somebody has reached a certain level, it is unwise to introduce them to. So there's many books that have been hidden. Well, if the first principles have been yet to receive as far as obedience is concerned, then there's no way that a babe needs to receive anything stronger than otherwise it could destroy them, could destroy their system. Anyway, may this be a blessing to you, and I'll see you next time.